Hello everybody and welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. We have a 1v1 today on a map I have never seen before, and it is called Hide and Seek. And today our contestants here are Mr. Blodir in blue playing as Cortex, and on the opposite side of the map we have Greenfox playing as Armada. Now, straight off on this map, you're seeing these like very yellow metal points here, indicating that they are higher value than the rest of them. There are quite a few on the map. This seems to be like it is made to also be somewhat of an FFA map, maybe, or a small team. But yeah, it's a bit of an interesting one. Don't think I've ever played on this map before, so it's nice to see something different. Oh, one thing we've forgotten is these picture-in-picture bits. How could I? How could I? There we go. So, what can we expect? Well, with this map, there's a lot of trees. Both players have gone bots here due to the terrain, especially in the center here. You're going to need vehicles in order to get over this kind of section here. And so yeah, no, I don't expect to see any vehicles. Air doesn't really gain any value other than maybe you could build some like radars or, like, if you want to be really annoying, artillery in the high ground. But otherwise, there's no real reason to do that because bots can just path up to like this corner mech situation. Now, in the back corner here are 3 2.5 mexes, which is going to be important for players, as you can see them prioritizing that. And Grunt versus Pawn, the Grunt did come out on top there. And sorry, I was just messing around with the volume a little bit there. Yeah, so section in the corner going to be prioritized by pretty much both players. This does mean that technically if you did go vehicles, a raid around the side would be quite effective. But at the same time, you do lose access to the center here. So maybe as like a, not even a secondary, but maybe like a tertiary factory, perhaps. But I would think players would prefer to get air up and running before they would consider going for a vehicle lab. This is a pretty decently placed radar here by Greenfox. This does give some vision down here. There is a bit of a gap there, and I kind of feel like maybe if they just placed it a little bit higher here, it would have kind of solved that issue, but nevertheless does its job. These guys they get a metal extractor, 2.5 one as well, and then have to fall back. There's not really much. This is the problem with this map, is that it's very choky, but also not at the same time. Like, this one LLT almost blocks off this. You build an LLT back here, this will defend this rear area as well. A LLT up here will defend this kind of choke point as well, and then you've just got the hill at the front. But Blodir did do quite well there at pulling off these pawns so that he could move in a separate grunt here to grab the expansion con, and that is a pretty substantial loss for Greenfox this early on. Not only that, but he manages to kill the pawns and is now going for the, well, he was supposed to be going for the wreck. He's accidentally clicked the wrong one. Oh, he's actually going for both of them. Okay. Focusing on all the wrecks here, Blodir, in an attempt to deny resurrection. Being this close to the base, it does make sense. That's pretty well done there by Blodir. He is definitely delaying Greenfox's regrowth by destroying all the wrecks here, not letting his opponent have any access to any of the stuff that's killed, being that he's not able to get that reclaim himself. At the same time, Blodir's commander here, basically just outside of Greenfox's base. With enough defensive forces, Blodir could just walk straight at Greenfox's base here. At the same time, though, Greenfox is just walking behind the defensive line of Blodir with his commander. And we may be about to see him just degun that factory. Blodir's forces lose out on that fight there versus the pawns. And there's that degun that we were expecting. And Greenfox now makes a hole, but Blodir is just slowly creeping forward with LLTs. And with now 2 of them already down, it's going to be hard for him to push in. A Centurion well, 2 Centurions have been built by Greenfox here, which is kind of perfect to deal with these LLTs. Also a little bit unfortunate in the line that Blodir has built them at, kind of meaning that if they walk in... Oh, God, this is dangerous. Greenfox, what are you doing? Greenfox calmed down to 10% health. He maybe didn't quite realize there was 2 LLTs there and just kind of walked straight in. But with 3 Centurions here, this is going to be too much for Blodir. He will have to back off. But all this time, Blodir has been expanding in the back line. So has Greenfox, though. And the only difference is that there is a decent chunk of metal, which for some reason it's not showing me. There we go. Almost 1,000 metal now just sat right outside of Greenfox's base. Greenfox is technically 300 metal ahead at this point in time. Not that big a deal, but still. Now, Greenfox has the defensive advantage here with Centurions versus the grunts that Blodir will have. But the question is, will he be able to make use of them? Centurions are, of course, very, very slow, and this map is quite wide. So he needs to be able to get these Centurions where they need to be before, he realizes. And he is kind of positioning these Centurions in, like, spots. So he's got 1 up on this hill. He's having 2 around here, and he is sending 2 now back to this corner, which will stop this kind of push from coming into the base. But at the same time, 2 pawns have managed to make it round the back at the top. And some more pawns down on this side, which is just behind Blodir's base. They don't really get anything of value, though. And it could have been a lot worse. Centurion is slowly walking down in an attempt to defend this position, though it looks like if Blodir keeps going, they'll get there just after all the metal extractors have been killed. LRT attempted to be self-destructed. Oh, Blodir not microing it, though. Dives on the Centurion. And that goes down very quickly when it gets surrounded by grunts. Although I don't think there's quite enough grunts here to save this, as Blodir has to run away. But still, taking out those back mechs is quite a loss. And interestingly enough, we see Greenfox now basically just permanently pumping out Centurions almost. Oh, but a transition to vehicles. Interesting. That's not what I was expecting. Literally the opposite of what I was saying. 2 bot labs, though, for Blodir. No air yet whatsoever. These Centurions are making their way through the map pretty effectively. They have come across too many LLTs now for them to just walk into. Blodir unable to position his units effectively there. Gets quite a lot of them killed beforehand. Blodir trying to desperately rush, but great D-gun. About to say rush an LLT out. The D-gun manages to stop that push very, very effectively. And I don't know. It's interesting to kind of see at the moment. I don't think any player really has a significant advantage. I mean, you look at metal a second, that kind of gives you a kind of bit of a false perspective right now because of the reclaim that's going on back here. No, it's being rezzed. Okay, so technically Blodir is ahead when it comes to metal, a second. But it's very little metal difference between the two players. Less than a K difference between them. Greenfox not having the vision there. Gets a constructor caught out. Problem with Greenfox is these Centurions aren't able to get into position quick enough. And this is the downside of Centurions, basically, which is why we see quite a lot of people go air as a second factory with Centurions in order to build air transports to move them around quickly, because Blodir is doing exactly what you should do when you're faced against a large group of Centurions, is go where the Centurions aren't. Janus shot causes quite a few grunts there to die. And bombers you can hear being prepped. Blodir just running those grunts back. Blodir really unable to kind of make any headway though in any location right now. He's done a little bit of raiding down here, but realistically not been able to make that much of an impact. The bombers, we'll see how much damage the bombers do as Blodir pushes forward now with about 5-6 thugs. One of them does die, but he's able to make a bit of a hole. Takes out all of the LLTs and now will at least kind of secure this area. But as the bombers make their way in, air has been detected, will be the notification Blodir will have received. And pushing out AA from his bot labs. First wave over, gets nothing at all. And realistically, that could have been a lot worse. Blodir here with 4 energy storages, and all of that energy storage is full. I don't think he's really pressed for energy right now. And with Greenfox going vehicles, it's going to limit his ability to access this high ground. But Blodir not paying attention here as this army gets absolutely decimated by the Centurions. And he doesn't have much on this side to stop it. But he is paying attention to over here, where these tanks are not going to be able to go up that hill. Nope. And the thugs just march their way straight over. And this is exactly what we were talking about earlier on, where vehicles will not be able to pass up these areas. So they're great on low ground, but they're going to have problems if your opponent still stays on box. Now, the only reason he's able to push this off is due to the fact of having those gunships. Otherwise, this would have been a sorry day for Greenfox. But Blodir's army there getting eviscerated by the gunships. He does manage to get some reinforcements and does manage to take out a lot of this res ball that Greenfox has. And another thing to note here is that, you know, Greenfox does not have a bot lab anymore. So every res bot lost is a res bot that is not coming back. At the same time, we see pressure across the line here. Some gunships attacking on that side. There was a slight attack down here. Greenfox is preparing a bit of an attack on that flank. This tank just like in a pool. There we go. Stuck behind the wrecks of his brothers. And interestingly enough, you see there's a landed spy plane there, providing a bit of vision. Neither player going for the Geo, though. And this becomes a bit of a problem now for Greenfox, because he doesn't really have a way to contest this hill. And if Blodir just decides to stay up there and builds a bunch of thugs, for example, Greenfox is going to be in problems, because he can't really contest it whatsoever. Gunships, though, are causing some hassle for Blodir. And now he's had to build some fighters himself. He has managed to get Greenfox the corner mexes, though. Both corners have been gotten, which is quite valuable. And meanwhile, in the bottom right, this tank army with Centurion support is slowly pushing forward. You would think that Blodir has enough time to deal with this. But so far is sending everything to the center. Blodir is stalling on... Oh, Blodir finally ran out of energy, it seems. Stalling now on energy. And that is really causing some problems. This is now producing basically no units. He's trying to apply pressure to Greenfox here in an attempt to kind of force him out. But this army now is actually a bit of a problem. Looks like Blodir kind of tries to attempt a bit of a all in on the commander here. Throws his entire army that he had at the commander. Greenfox is calmed down to 50% health. They do break through the LLT line, but that's about all they're going to be able to do. And at the same time, this army that was on the left gets a few grunts through, but not much. But this is the problem, as several Centurions and a Janus made it into the base of Blodir. And Blodir with severe energy problems right now already, losing a lot of his windmills. And there goes some of the build power as well. Energy storage going down, and this is going to be difficult for Blodir to deal with. See, Centurions do a pretty good job at dealing with shurikens. That's why you're not seeing shurikens coming out here. He's also losing the metal extractors behind. He's trying to rush out LLTs, which are slowly working. He needs the build power to try and mitigate the damage. That next Janus volley will destroy that energy storage, though. Ooh. It literally had like 0% health. 5%. I think he may have it under control now. But that's a big loss for Blodir. Question is, will he be able to keep the pressure on? Because he does kind of have Greenfox contained in his base area. All of the combat units are here. Army value, though, is significantly on Greenfox's side. And look at all the gunships. Blodir now with no energy, can't cloak. And even with all of this AA that's here, it's not enough to save the day. And Blodir gets taken out. Wow.
Battle ended.
Very well played, Greenfox. It honestly looked like Blodir was in a very strong position there, but in the end, Greenfox buying time to build up enough gunships to snipe out the commander. Very well played. And thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one on this very different map today. And I'll see you all next time.